The Vedas.
Welcome everyone to the brand new Vedas series. All the shout outs and all the thank yous are at the end of the video. We have been away for a while, so thank you for all your patience. In today's Vedas chapter 4, we will take a little detour and do the origins of when the Slavic Vedas, or simply Vedas, resurfaced in the last century. So if you want to know what was going on before, please refer to the previous chapters. Now again, we do say Vedas because Vedas simply means to know. I am translating it from Russian, but in Russian it was translated from ancient Slavic language, and before that, the runas. Now, all Slavic languages are the language of forms, meaning when you read or see a word, it gets embedded in you as a form. I would like to remind everyone or inform the new people that this is not a religion, this is not a knowledge. This is meant to awaken our genetic, spiritual memory. And so, the Vedas, chapter 4, the origins. Slavic Vedas, or the Book of Light, or simply the Vedas, resurfaced during the collapse of the Soviet Union and the previous ancient world at the end of the 20th century. Communist ideology gave rise to many Slavic peoples a desire to get acquainted with and perceive other ideological and religious systems in the 90s of the last century. The flow of various ideological religious teachings from liberalism, external independent evolution began to acquire influences. Characteristics of pre-revolutionary Russia, Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism also showed interest in the pre-Christian and then Soviet communist power. Many Slavic knowledge, rituals, traditions in this regard. At present, the restoration of the Slavic worldview is more difficult, but still quite feasible of a matter. Many articles have already been published, brochures, books that to no degree or another solve this problem. However, these critical brochures and books have different levels of coverage of the problem. There are publications in which copying Christianity, the enemy of the supreme God, is erected one of the Slavic gods, Dashbog or Svarog, and so on, attempting to show a primitive form of worship of nature or the sun. There are no publications that concentrate Slavic worldview, thus leading it to the cloudy debates that come from little understanding. The overwhelming majority of Slavic people, on this basis, there appeared many proactive practitioners who do not have one Slavic worldview of Slavic traditions, which leads to the creation of a variety of different multi-directional religious organizations and groups. These initiators most often attract weak people who least of all rely on reason and knowledge and are guided by feelings and urges of the heart. Some lead to a series and diverse problems. All this along with mental characteristics of our people who do not want to study anything serious for the most part, but certainly want to lead something, gives rise to hostility between various Slavic movements. This makes it easier for other religious confessions to fight. Let's fight Slavic worldview in this regard. The time has come to isolate from the existing works and other sources the main thing that just allows us to restore completely reliable knowledge about the Slavic worldview and note all people's worldview before Christianity as the basis of the Slavic way of life on these traditions and rituals. However, it should be borne in mind that knowledge and understanding for this will not be enough in this regard. One should also rely on the event of the annals of the Slavs in this regard. Now, there are also many works of varying quality of description of the past of the Slavs, returning to the worldview of the Slavs. It should be said that it covered not only the organization of their life, but also included knowledge about the universe, of the solar system, the sun, about man and his past, about his interaction with the earth, about the influence of the universe processes on the development of man and humanity, and so on. In some positions, the worldview of the Slavs is ahead of the knowledge that is available in modern science. In order to see and understand this, we need to consider all this, because this book is intended for the inquisitive reader who wakes up to the question of why and what and so on, and also asks him or herself about the Slavs, how they were like in the past. And this book needs to be read several times so that the main is firmly deposited in the head, since the views of modern people do not correspond at all to the ancient Vedic worldview. Ethnic Slavs and all indigenous people of each continent have all this stored at the genetic level, so it can be awakened after reading or listening to this book about the creation of the world understanding, and the ancient faiths of Slavs and all natural humans, on the basis of which the all ancient Vedic society functioned. Faith means shining wisdom. That is, first of all, to know the universe and all its manifestations. In this regard, faith is first of all knowledge and not blind worship of an inexplicable deity, as is accepted in all world religions and their sects of. The Slavic worldview includes the worlds of darkness and the worlds of light, but these components are not isolated from each other. They closely interact with one another, and one another energies coming from the worlds of light disperse the space of the worlds of darkness, and the worlds of darkness absorb energies coming from the worlds of light. From here, it directly follows that the universe for us is a dualist, and an organization is extremely complex. It has many galaxies that rotate and some that don't necessarily rotate around any center or rotate one way or another. For example, black holes of a galaxy are located in a significant part of space of universe. They are clusters of a huge number of suns, stars, earths, moons, asteroids, comets, and dust, which rotate in the system of a particular galaxy, emitting and absorbing various types of matter and energy. Here, it is necessary to keep in mind that matter is a compact whole, and on the contrary, located in a limited place in the space of the universe, and are intended to absorb the emitted galaxy, which are compressed in it to an incredible limit. When the amount of energy in the Noah hole reaches a critical mass, it explodes and gives birth to a new galaxy. Thus, the universe in its essence for us too, a dualist. Galaxies, black holes, and other objects of the universe are extremely compact. In the course, this interaction constantly occurs. And other spatial centers of the universe apparently exist, but this does not mean that only in one does the flow and types of changes in energy of matter occur. The presence of galaxies and black holes mean that only in one thus the flow types of changes, indicates that the universe has many of these points. Every object in the universe, right down to the atom, the electron, either emits or absorbs energy and matter, reproducing new types of energy and matter. This is especially clearly seen in the example of animal and plant life. Mirages absorb the things they need for life. Solar energy and food matter process them and receive various energy, flat and plant matter, thanks to which they live and develop. But also, like galaxies and black holes, animals and plants exist up to a certain point, after which they die, giving the opportunity to appear other structures and organisms of the living universe. Death and waiting for something new constantly. This is its engine, allowing the universe to exist forever. Hence, it is clear that it had no beginning and will have no end. At present, the scientific world has created many concepts of the origin of the universe. Among them, the most famous are 9 concepts, which include the theory of Big Bang and the theory of divine creation. However, among them, there is no single one that would declare the eternity of the universe. Nevertheless, the eternal existence of the universe is confirmed by modern scientists, and particular Russian scientist from Ryazan, Belkin. In his work, Belkin Physics describes Planck physics, casts reasonable doubt on the theory of the Big Bang, cosmic explosions. In this, he proves that with the Planck point, the energy of the first matter is only in a kinetic state, and by all parameters has, by our standard, continuous infinite. Since all types of interactions have Planck points, then the line of them forms a kind of boundary between matter and the first matter that exists out of zero interaction line to the surface of the quasi-liquid is a potential beginning for the development of a future universe within itself. In internal regions not in contact with the surface of the quasi-liquid, we have non-linear physical worlds. And at the boundary of the quasi-liquid, quasi-gas linear ones, definitions of our physical laws, we can state that we live in one of these linear physical worlds. Belkin conclusions show that in the universe there is energy, matter, and energy in this one. The personality of the universe is manifested for our perception. At the same time, from this conclusion, it becomes clear that there are actually many universes and they flow from one to another. We are in one of these linear physical worlds of the universe, which is called the universe. People see only the manifested universe having solid luminous objects from which his conclusions are also understood by you. All this speaks of the eternity of the universe and its infinity. In this regard, there is no reason to limit the existence of the universe to 17 billion years as modern science does. In fact, as well as to state that it is currently expanding, as Belkin believes, one thing can be said for sure, that in view of its enormous size, areas of the universe, we cannot process the existence of the universe from here. It is quite clear that there is no reason to claim that some creator once created the universe. Moreover, the universe is the real creator of the world phenomena. And we speak more precisely than the existence of the universe is ensured by forces and energies that jointly and in coordinated manner are engaged in the development of the universe. and each force, they are united in the creation of the universe. Creation, not only creation, but also change. This allows us to speak of unity. Many creative forces and energies, but not about a single creator, about the energy of matter. Modern man knows something, but about the forces that make energy, matter rotate, contract, expand, explode, flow, die, be born, and so on, little is known to the human race. So we develop both false knowledge and false ideas. The tendency of most people to simple solutions and mystifications, their unwillingness to study the universe, leads to the fact that ancient knowledge is lost, and false ideas begin to dominate in society in this regard. And it is necessary to turn to recently discovered ancient sources and see how they interpret the emergence of the universe and the correctness or incorrectness of the doctrine to which this source belongs. The goal is only to search moments of confirming the above stated positions and their proof with modern concepts. Otherwise, it will be unclear what I am talking about. Since a literal translation of an ancient text will not allow a modern person to understand it correctly, with such a source is a book of light in which ancestors speak to us from about one of the great Ramcha. He perceived the new reality, and from the perception of a new boundless infinity was illuminated by the great light of joy, and then appeared endless new eternity, born in a new reality, an infinite number of its manifestations. It appears that all space, all worlds, all souls were perceived from this extracted and firstly from the great Ramcha. And the great Ramcha is a force that is used, all energy and all matter, transform the form of existence. Secondly, in the comments of this book of light, the great Ramcha is presented as original unity, unknowability, radiating life force, life joy, primary fire of the universe. This definition is extremely difficult to understand, therefore it makes sense to simplify it by simplifying the translation to 3 runas, Ramcha. So this was our new series, Vedas chapter 4, The Origins. We will continue reading the Vedas in the next chapter, but we will also come back to the origins in the chapters to follow. Please remember, I am translating this to the best of my ability. I'm not a professional translator. That is why we are planning to have live streaming events at least once a week so we can go through these symbols and words and understandings and start breaking them down so we can understand and feel truly that we are on the right path by bringing back the Vedas or the complete Slavic Vedas. So please excuse me if I hopped around somewhere and you didn't understand this. Please leave a comment and I will look into this. Thank you so much for being here. Huge shout out to my brother, my partner, Daniel. May his soul find the peace that he's looking for. Thank you to my beautiful Romaniya poet. Thank you to my mother. Thank you to all of you who have reached out in the past month. That's been such a difficult month. Thank you to my brother David. Thank you to my brother Jim. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, everyone that wrote nice things in support. I will never forget that. So this was Vedas chapter 4, The Origins. We will see y'all on the rebound. You know what we say.